From Chicago streets to the courts beat, South Scott Dan on the podcast seat. Bulls breaking news, talking stats and views. Every player, every play, we never lose. Horns over hoops, we're the Bulls troop. From game analysis to fan scoop.
What's good, Bulls fans and Horniacs, and welcome back to another episode of the Horns Over Hoops podcast. I am your host for the evening, Sal Bass. Scott Berman and Dan Gracie are all out for the evening. But I'm not the main character of this story. No. Because joining me today, I'm really excited to present to you from the local Bulls fan podcast, Alejandro, ladies and gentlemen. Alejandro, welcome.
Thank you for having me on, Sal. This is exciting. Very much exciting.
Oh, it's just exciting for us, man. We're ecstatic to have you. We love talking to our Bulls fans and just getting everybody's opinion on the team that we love. So we got a good show in store for everybody. So if you're ready to get into it, let's just go ahead and crack this bottle open.
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Let's start out by saying, who are you?
Me, I'm Alejandro. I currently attend U of I right now, finishing up my bachelor's degree in psych. I'm a local Bulls fan. I'm always rage tweeting about something going on, either Vucevic not getting real rebounds or just anything.
Yeah, there's a lot of Vooch rage tweets that to be done.
I think I'm gonna cool off this year, just because he is who he is. But we'll get into that later.
Yeah, exactly. He is who he thought he is. But more importantly, man, what got you into basketball?
Basketball, I don't know. It just always clicked in my grade school. That was the only sport they offered, so I always tried it out. Made the team or I didn't. But what got me into the Bulls basketball, believe it or not, was Kyle Korver.
Oh, Dan's gonna love that.
Just he was just so great going, running around and catch and shoot threes. I don't know why that, out of Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah, everything, it was Kyle Korver that stood out to me. This right here, this is bad. This is entertainment. I need this.
That's Dan's boy. That's what got Dan, and basically he loved Kyle Korver. He'll love to hear that.
I'm glad.
And what got you into following the Bulls?
So it progressed. I always followed them, but that during the post Jimmy Butler days, they were it was Zach, Little, Jabari Parker. They had their moments, but what got me into starting local Bulls fan, really diving deep into it, was just seeing that there's a Bulls community out there. What people around my age mainly use Facebook and stuff. So there's only that one page. I forgot what it's called. Oh, Die Hard Chicago Bulls.
Yeah.
It was all right, but then I go on Twitter now, X or whatever it's called. I see everybody obsessed. I see people on YouTube. Hayes from Chicago Bull Central or Jamal from Bull Central. Both of them. I started watching their videos. I'm oh, can I curse?
Oh, you sure can. Be you.
I was oh shit, they're great. I'm I need more of this, and then I just became addicted, following them and everything.
Yeah, we love Hayes. We love all our content. We had Hayes on the show. I was just on the Cognac Boys. Shout out to them. Great pod, great guys. If you're not following them, I highly suggest you do, Bulls fans, because they put out some A1 content. But moving on to how long have you been creating content?
It progressed gradually over time. Let me think. I think for about 3 to 4 years now. Yeah, because when I started taking it more serious when I moved to Champaign, I just started finding making my graphics. I'm okay, I could post about this, post about that. I have a whole camera set up and everything that I want to use instead of my headphones more often, but I love talking about Bulls. And then when you listen to other podcasts, oh, this will be an interesting point. This will be an interesting point, but you're not going to tell other people what the hell they could say or can't say.
You're right.
Oh, it would be good if I try to start my own thing.
Yeah, that's the best part about it is you don't need the fanciest cameras. You don't need the top of the line gear. You just need the love for the team, and just a voice. That's the best part about the community. I'm rocking like a cheap $50 camera and like a ring light from 5 and Below, so don't worry about it.
No, your setup's looking great. I'm not gonna lie.
Thank you. I actually had to move it. I was in the other room, but I'm like, nah, I kind of need my own little spot now. So.
Understandable.
So about the Bulls, you kind of touched on it, but besides Kyle Korver, who was your favorite player growing up?
Joakim Noah.
Yes.
Oh man, I had an afro when I was younger because my hair was really curly, and I was like, yeah, that's my guy. Just the intensity of it all, like it was just amazing to watch.
Yeah, you look like you're hiding some under that hat too. You look like you still got the afro going.
Oh yeah, I'm growing it out.
Man, look at that.
But I'm like debating on cutting it now or not. I'm just like, one day I want to, the other day I'm like, yeah, it would be cool to just have it down here.
Yeah, let it go, man. Do what Joe did.
I'm probably.
So you go to U of I. You're from Chicago, I assume, or?
Yes.
Yeah, represent. So if you could pick a second team other than the Bulls, I know everyone always picks the Bulls, but if they always follow like a second team, who would your second team be?
My second team, it was OKC, just because like I like the Russ and the underdog story of when KD left. I'm like, oh, this is like watching the triple doubles. It was just amazing.
Yeah. Russ was a great player. He still is. He's still playing. That team was actually my son's favorite team too. That OKC with like James Harden, KD, Russ. I mean, that team was stacked, and that team definitely got snubbed of an NBA championship. I'll say that, but very entertaining team to watch. Good second team to have. You've been following preseason this year?
Yeah, I couldn't watch all of last night's games, but I've been, maneuvering because, Jerry wants to hide the Bulls for some reason.
Yeah.
Trying to find a way to watch it. But yeah, I've been watching.
Yeah, that's actually the next question I was going to ask you, because we're segueing into our first segment called the preseason evaluation. And in this wacky world of streaming and following the games, with Jerry moving this team to basically a phantom network where people are buying TV antennas and what have you to watch the game, how have you, Alejandro, been finding the games?
I've been finding them like through the typical websites everyone uses. Let me think, like Stream East, Meth Stream. Whenever one's not working, you just switch to the other.
Yeah.
Like, it's been crazy because I'm like, all right, I bought my antenna. It's here. I plugged it in. I'm like, what? You're telling me you're not coming out all the way to Champaign, but you're still doing blocks. You're still doing blackouts. I mean,
Yep.
Your league pass is ridiculous.
Yeah. That was one thing I had said to the guys, my other hosts. I'm like, how is it that a game that's being broadcasted 40 miles from my house, I can't see it, but I can watch like a cricket match from India, or I can watch like a pickleball championship from halfway around like, how can I see those? But watching the Bulls is difficult. So that definitely a strike against Jerry.
Oh yeah, it's on par. It's on brand. It's definitely no surprise.
Yeah. I mean, look what he's doing to the White Sox, man.
Oh my God. I have people who don't like pay attention to sports talking to me about the White Sox, how bad they are. I'm like, what? That's embarrassing.
Yeah. Well, a team's only as good as his owner. That's all I can say.
I agree with you there.
So then question before we get into it: Cubs or Sox?
White Sox.
There you go. Respect. I'm a White Sox fan. Don't unsubscribe because I said that, Cubs fan. I respect the Cubs. Congratulations on 2016. Just as a kid, I was brought up a White Sox fan. Therefore, I'm still a White Sox fan. But what do you think of the team so far this year? Like, how are you liking them?
I'm frustrated a little bit because I'm like, I like the team. I do, but you can't move forward like financially, everything with Zach LaVine still on the team. Like it's not going to be like the D-Wade, Jimmy Butler Bulls where they're just arguing drama. But in terms of development, seeing what you have in guys, being able, Giddy's up for a contract extension pretty soon.
Yep.
How I want to see, it's not about him and Zach getting, the chemistry. It's cool, but long-term wise, I need to see him and Kobe, him and Io, see what we have in Patrick Williams. It's all over the place because I'm like, right now it should be, I hope the priority is trade Zach LaVine, not because he's a bad player,
right?
But it's just you're gonna have to pay Toby pretty soon, Io and Giddy.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
Zach, that's all your money tied up in 4 guards. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. That's a very good way to put it. Yeah. We just talked about this the other night on Shy Bulls podcast is Giddy's going to be looking for some money soon. So $40 million in Zach LaVine is kind of tying up the funds a bit, not just for Giddy, but for other potential players that could be moving forward. I like that answer. But overall, do you think we improved from last year, or do you think we stayed about the same?
I think we got worse a little bit. I'm not too sure. I think it's either you get worse or you get a little bit like that you stayed the same. Because although Alex Caruso was a great defender, the best defender in the NBA, arguably, he couldn't stop everybody on the team.
Right.
So with him gone, I don't know how. Like it changes drastically, but I don't know how much because we were already pretty bad at defense.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like a different makeup. We're not going to play through DeMar and Vooch. Hopefully not Vooch.
Yeah. Jeez.
Picking, like passing to them, making sure they get their shots, running the offense through them. It's going to be Giddy moving the ball. We're taking up more threes now. I think if not last night's game, the Bulls put up like 29 3-point attempts at halftime.
Yep.
I'm like, that's how much we averaged at one point. So I'm like, all right, this is going to be a different framework. We could be just as good, if Zach is Zach, and then Giddy shows that, OKC shouldn't have traded him.
Yep. He's definitely got a chip on his shoulder coming to Chicago. So then you kind of touched on it, but what do you think should be our main focus? Like, what should we really work on this year?
Right now, it is make Zach LaVine look amazing. I know, like, we should, I want to develop our guys. I want to see Modest. I want to see Giddy, Io, Toby. But that can't happen in the future until we get Zach LaVine out of here. We're only as good as our highest paid player.
I like that answer. That's a great answer. You're only as good as your highest paid player. I like that. I really do.
I think they stole it from Jason Golf at one point. He was talking about that. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? Like he said, like, follow the money. And I'm like, he has a point.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we love Jason Goff, man. Shout out Bulls Talk Pod. Actually, they just changed their name, didn't they, to By the Horns?
I think so. I don't know if he's on it now. I think it's 2 other people. I know they're definitely great in the Bulls community. I just can't think of their name at the moment.
Yeah. So then as far as pieces, are we missing players? Are we missing coaches? Both? What do you think we're missing?
I think a little bit of both in a way. Like, we're missing our star for sure. I'm not too worried about the coach. Billy's like a great placeholder.
Yeah.
He's there. We have an NBA level coach. It's not like anybody bad, but it's not Jim Boylan, so I'll take it.
Oh man, it's not Jim Boylan, it's not Hoiberg, it's not Cartwright. Whoever else we had, Tim Floyd, if you know who that is, like back in the 15 win seasons.
I think I was like a toddler around then, but I've heard of him.
Oh man, I'm showing my age here. I'm showing my age. But aside from just the mediocrity, have there been any players that have surpassed your expectations so far? Have been playing at a level you didn't think they'd be capable of playing that high of?
I know everyone's answer is like Modest Buzelis, but I was on the hype train of Modest Buzelis since last November. I was like, the Bulls need to draft him. I'm like, whatever they need to do, trade up for this kid. Like, he's legit. So I'm like, I'm really happy that I see everyone like, oh my gosh, I didn't think he was gonna come out and be like this. So I'm like, no, I love the draft. I love the NBA. I love doing research. Can the Bulls get this guy? Who can they get? That's just my favorite part, non-Bulls wise.
Yep.
So just like seeing, that he actually fell to them. I'm like, oh, this is great. And you see his shot the mechanics look pretty good for the most part. His handles are a little loose, but I'll take it. He's trying stuff. He's not afraid. He blocked Zach Edey and pointed at him. That was crazy.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that was good. Yeah. Matas, his shot. What I like about his shot is he has a quick release, and in the NBA with perimeter defense on the up and just everything switching to 3-point shooting, Matas has just the best release, catch and shoot. None of that. Like, he's already set and ready to shoot as soon as he catches the ball, which is going to be key going forward. Shout out to the Hinsdale Hero.
I like
you got
that.
any nicknames for him yet?
I saw Stacey King call him the praying mantis. I like that one a lot.
Stacey King comes out with the best nicknames ever. Like, it's one of those, like, we wait until what Stacey King calls him until we call him that ourselves. So,
oh yeah. Oh, you reminded Bull Zealous. That was
Bull
like the main
Zealous,
thing I keep tweeting. Yeah.
I like Bull Zealous. That was a good one. But aside from him stepping up, are there any players that are like, all right, they're the same? You know, they didn't do anything. They didn't improve. They said they were going to improve, and they just stayed the same.
I don't. Who would that? I think Patrick Williams. He looks the same. I think he would just be the same no matter what to me. Like,
yeah,
he's just there. He's the guy. He's a good role player. I've given up on the top 5 pick. I'm like, it's okay.
Yeah,
I've seen enough. You're all right. You got your money. Good role player money. Go do consistent role player things.
Yeah. That was the other thing that we touched on the other day was Patrick Williams, that signing. I mean, a lot of people were a little disappointed on it, but it was one of those, like, you had to pay him because you didn't want that guy to walk. But at the same time, at a number 4 overall pick, should he perform a little bit better? But at the same time, if we would have picked him 15th through 30th, you know what I mean? I would have been happy with him. You know what I mean? Because he is who he is now. You know what I mean? We've gotten all that we've gotten with Pat Williams. So, besides that, who have you noticed that has taken a step back and their skills are just not all there yet?
I think Vooch, but not because his skills. I really don't think he's happy here. He just does. When he attempts things, he looks like he can play basketball. He understands basketball at a high level, but he just doesn't finish anything. He doesn't put effort to it.
Right.
I think he's just clocking in and out treating this like a dead end job.
Right.
9 to 5.
Yep.
All right, I'm here. Give me the check.
Yep.
I'm gonna head home, get you a couple rebounds, couple points, call it a night.
Yep. Yeah. I'm glad that you said that because, like, I think everyone in the Bulls community has already decided, like, Vooch is our weakest link. Yeah, we don't really have the means to get anyone better, so he'll do until that better name comes up. But that man is severely checked out. Like, his demeanor on the court, like, it's just sad. I'll just say it's sad. The man can't squeeze a rebound to save his life. He can't hit a 3 to save his life. You know, the man's just a mess.
Yeah, his 18 and 11 always makes me mad because everyone brings it up. But I'm like, the true shooting wise, it's because, you know, you get a high volume. Brandon Knight was on the Phoenix Suns. He was hooping. But if you look at the splits, not good. Rebounding wise, he doesn't get contested rebounds because that double-double is about to go away with Josh Giddey on the court. He's going to come and take all of those.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing. Like, to an extent, if you are a tall player, the rebound should be easy to get, especially in a league now where it's so focused on shooting. And the best 3-point shooter in the league probably shoots around 40 to 40, high 40%. So that means 53% of those shots are getting missed. So getting rebounds should be a lot easier. So, you know what I mean? I feel like that stat is severely, like, watered down nowadays. So,
oh yeah.
But what do you predict the Bulls to end up in the standing wise at the end of the season and division?
I don't know. I mean, division will be second for sure at minimum because we're better than the Pistons. It'll have to be a drastic jump from Jaden Ivey and Kate Cunningham to really make them leads and bounce better because you can't just bounce back by signing Tobias Harris.
Yeah,
but this is a Bulls podcast, not the Pistons.
So you think it's going to go Milwaukee, us, then Indiana, Cleveland, and Pistons?
No, I could see Indiana being better. I like Tyrese. I like Miles Turner. I think we'll be third. Then it will be the Pistons, and then in the regular season standings, I could see us at 10. I could honestly see us at 10.
That's a good prediction. That's actually more or less where I had us at. Another battle for that last play-in spot. That's all the goals.
Oh yeah,
that's all they're good for nowadays is just that last play-in spot.
They need to get that play-in revenue.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, here's the thing, especially this year, because everybody knows that San Antonio pick is on the table, and if we get in the top 14, that it goes away. I'm sure, and with Cooper Flag coming out, a bunch of great talent coming out next year's draft. I'm expecting the Bulls not to tank, because I think they do go out there and try to win every single game, but I'm assuming that down the stretch we're going to try and get that pick back.
It goes up to you. Should we go after the pick or that play-in spot?
I mean, here's the thing. As a Bulls fan, I'm always going to say try to win as many games as you can. The fans deserve to see not competitive basketball as in just trying to get to the playoff, but actual competitive basketball where you go out there 82 games, leave it all on the court. And if you lose, you lose. But at least you didn't lose because you guys were lazy and flat-footed. You lost because you were outplayed. And I'm fine with that. So I'm never going to say we shouldn't go after the playoffs, but that draft pick, the only way to improve this team now, just because I don't see a lot of superstars wanting to come to Chicago, not just because we don't have players to attract them, but just because the history that this franchise has of just being a terribly run franchise. Like, why is it that the Chicago Bulls have repeatedly failed at bringing in superstar talent here? We can get them here to do the job interview, but then when it comes down to, hey, do you actually want to sign here? Everybody beats feet for somewhere else. You know what I mean? So I'm probably going to say the only way to improve this team would be through the draft. Because if you look at another thing, if you look at the successful seasons that we have with Mike and Derrick Rose, we drafted Mike, we drafted Derrick Rose, we drafted Jimmy. Those were three key we drafted Joakim Noah, three key pieces of the success. So, I mean, we're not going to improve by making a blockbuster trade, nailing some superstar. You know what I mean? We're not going to trade for, let's just say a Donovan Mitchell, just to throw names out there.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. The only way we're going to improve is if we draft some anomaly, naturally gifted talent to come here that actually makes players want to suck it up and be here. You know, enter your 2010, 2011 season. So
yeah, I agree.
So what player do you think out of everyone on our roster is going to have the breakout season? Like, oh man, like this is his year.
Ayo Dosunmu.
Okay, I like that.
He just like being a two-way player is something I always value in basketball, even though like some of my favorite players aren't two-way players, but I enjoy the way he has his feet and hands ready for catch and shoot opportunities. He's able to make plays for others, just defend at bigger sizes. He guards Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. He's able to do all those things. He puts in so much work. I could see him, all my Illini biases aside, I could see him really taking off. I could really see him, forcing himself maybe in that starting spot. That's another reason why I would want Zach traded. It's just that I like the idea of Giddey and Kobe and Ayo all starting together.
Yeah.
It's just complementing skill sets, running on the fast breaks, just a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Plus, if you look at it, like if there's a player on this team who has earned a starting spot over Ayo Dosunmu, who is it? You know what I mean? Because that man has showed hustle, defense, the fast break layups. I mean, the man is incredible. And yeah, homegrown talent at U of I there. Is he I don't want to say well known, but like, is he like the worshipped guy in U of I, or is it still D Brown?
It's definitely him. It's definitely Ayo. I remember when he was first drafted to Chicago. I was moving here, and all my friends were telling me about like, oh yeah, I saw Ayo at this party, or at my job. Like, yeah, Ayo came in here the other day, and it was crazy. I think right now it's leaning towards like Terrence Shannon Jr.
Yeah.
Like my friend would show me all these pictures. He would go into work, our job, whenever I wasn't there. He's like, bro, I got a picture with him. So like, they don't play here when it comes to our basketball stars.
Wow. Yeah. No. And Terrence Shannon, he just went to Minnesota, right?
Oh yeah, they got him like at the 27th pick. It was insane.
Yeah, that was another guy that obviously I'm happy with Matas, but if we found a way to make a trade for Terrence Shannon, I would have loved that. I like our homegrown talent, man. I mean, I don't like some of the signings of our homegrown talent, but I like Chicago basketball. I like players that have played in Chicago. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. They just play differently. I don't know how to explain it. They just have like just the way, like you see it, like when you play basketball around town, you see it with everyone's play style.
Yep. That was one thing I'd mentioned the other day was Derrick Rose, like what made Derrick Rose incredible was like he played Chicago Bulls basketball, not just Bulls basketball. He played Chicagoland basketball. Like it was just, you have to be from here to know what that's like. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So aside from players taking a step up, do you see anybody like this is their year to take a step back? Do you see anybody declining this year?
Anyone declining? Who do we have? I don't know. I mean, I would have to say Kobe
Kobe? Okay. Okay.
because we still have like how I'll say just it all leads back to Zach in the sense of like Kobe had such a good breakout year. I don't think he's gonna just fall off a cliff. But then we need to have Giddy playmaking, and then Zach needs like he's not gonna be like this black hole needing the ball or anything. But like his usage, his usage needs to be somewhere. He's not only gonna be like Klay Thompson or Kyle Korver, catch, shoot, cut. He wants to ISO a little bit. Not to say he's gonna do that every possession,
Right.
but at a certain point, he wants to create his own shot.
Yep.
And then same thing goes for Giddy.
Yep.
So I could definitely see that.
Yep.
And then I think second it will probably be like Patrick, but like that'll probably be because like Mata's just like beats him into the starting lineup.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that 100%. That was funny because that was exactly who I was thinking is, yeah, Kobe White is still going to be Kobe White, but with the addition of Giddy on the team, with Lonzo coming back, we'll see how well he finishes the season up. But those stats are going to go down because Josh Giddey is now going to pick up a few of those assists that Kobe was getting, and that Josh Giddey's going to be picking up some of the scoring. Matas going to be picking up some of the scoring. We're going to have to distribute those stats, but not necessarily taking a step back as in the play that Kobe is going to be bad now. I'm not saying that at all, but I can definitely see his stats falling a little bit. But I can also see it being a blessing for him because now he really doesn't have to be expected to be the man. You know what I mean? He can fall into that comfortable role. You know what I mean? Especially if Zach stays here, it'll be Zach's team, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. I see. I never thought of it that way. Now that you put it, that it's a blessing in disguise. Like him being able to not attract the double team, be the number one option. He should be like, all right, take care of his body more in case there's games where they need him to go off. He can.
Yep, that was a great answer. Yeah. And while we're talking about him, I know we mentioned his name a bunch. What is your thoughts and expectation on Matas for his rookie season?
I honestly could see him in the starting lineup by the end of the season. I don't know
Yeah.
who spot by how or what, but just him being able to. You saw he was able to shuffle his feet guarding Donovan Mitchell. I get it's just the preseason, but just being able to keep up alone is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I could see him making like maybe he's not beating Zach Edey for a rookie of the year, but he can make our rookie first team.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And the thing I liked about him was, did you hear after last game when we played the Bucks and he had to guard Giannis and they're like, how'd you feel guarding Giannis? And he was another player, just another player. So the kid has no fear and intimidation in the NBA. If you can just show that you're not intimidated by the biggest of stars, you got a bright future out of you. So I'm with that.
Mm-hmm. It reminded me of Giannis. I don't know if you remember during the playoffs, his rookie season against the Bulls, how he pushed what's his face, Mike Dunleavy.
Yep.
I'm like that. Mata's getting into it with Giannis is like how Giannis was, and then like it's a little foreshadow, hopefully.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Like that's what we lost with Alex because Caruso was like that dog. He was the guy that was going to get in your face, be the enforcer, and really like you're not messing with us. And I feel like that's another thing we lost, amongst other things that we lost with Alex Caruso, was that intimidator, that guy that's going to like get in your face. You knew not to mess with us. So granted, he's a rookie, Matas is going to be a rookie. And if he's going to be tough, he's going to get tossed around a bit, but going forward, he could be that intimidator, that enforcer guy. So I like that. Yeah. So besides Matas, what are your expectations on Zach LaVine? I know we briefly touched on him a bit, but like, what are you expecting of him this season?
Just be Zach LaVine, 25, 5-5. And hopefully he's like consistent, healthy. I think with all the scoring options, he could potentially take his defense to another level. I know we've all been saying this, waiting for this, but like he could reserve his energy. Like, okay, I got this easy bucket. I could put more time and effort into guarding. Like, you don't need nobody's stopping anybody in the NBA. Like, no one's stopping Luka, no one's stopping Tatum. But if he's able to make it difficult, if he's able to put effort, that'll go a long way. Just showing that he's able to do that, leading the example. Like, all right, I'm playing defense. Giddy, you're not moving out the way when Brook Lopez is there.
Yep.
Got to be there, try to take the charge, try to the hard foul, something.
Yep. Make them earn it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then, which players, if any, do you feel is going to get moved this year?
Moved. I don't think, and as much as I've been, clamoring for a Zach trade, I don't think a trade's going to happen this year just because of AK always saying, well, trade deadline moves never make your team better. Ironically, the guy who traded for Nikola Vucevic at the deadline.
Yeah, I'm glad you remember that.
So I don't think any moves are going to happen at the deadline again. I think anything's going to happen is going to be at the offseason.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah. As our history, we don't really ever make trade deadline moves. I mean, aside from the Vooch trade you just mentioned, like AK we just saw that he hadn't traded a player for another player in 3 years. I mean, it was crazy. So, and plus with $40 million and a semi-injury prone guard, I mean, that's going to make things extra difficult. So we either got to take less for Zach LaVine and kind of bite the bullet on that one, or B, just try to turn him into the biggest Bulls drinking Kool-Aid guy ever, where he just buys into the system and plays Zach LaVine basketball. It's like, you're here, you made the money. The best thing you could do is play Zach LaVine basketball and make this team better. So
what do you think, what would you want in return for Zach LaVine?
It's a loaded question. I love that question. So for Zach LaVine, here's the thing. I'm not expecting a player of that caliber because it's already well known we're going to lose this trade if and when we do trade Zach LaVine. We're not going to get a Zach LaVine caliber player in return. We're going to get a mediocre player and some stored lottery picks. But I'm liking the trades that I've been seeing where, like, Brandon Ingram, the 3-team trade with Brandon Ingram. I'll take that any day. The Lakers, the Rui Hachimura trade. Again, it's one of those, if we're going to get picks, I'd prefer them to be from a team where their picks are going to be worth something, not just some 26, 27, 28th overall pick where, yeah, the talent might be there, but what are the odds that 28th overall pick is the guy that changes your franchise? So I'd have to see a player of like a Malik Monk caliber player, a Jonathan Kuminga player, just a young player that they don't know if he's going to turn the corner, but he's got the potential, and maybe definitely a couple picks. But that's who I'd like to see in a trade for Zach LaVine. And also, a package that includes Javon Carter to get them the hell out of Chicago.
No, I'm right there with you. You're the first person to really emphasize a player in return in a Zach LaVine trade. I like the point that you made about, like, bringing in the picks, but what's the point? That's how I felt about the Caruso trade. Why would I want, picks from New York when they're just going to be bottom feeder picks?
Yep.
Like, what we're not going to get. Like, we could get someone if they were drafting well, but like that's not realistic.
Right. Exactly. Like, take your Jokic, arguably the best second round pick to ever play the game. You know what I mean? That's a unicorn in 70 years of basketball. There's been a handful of handful of late. Now you could get lucky and get that Jimmy Butler, that 30th overall pick. That's just incredible. It is the difference maker. But again, more times than not, you're going to get a player that rides the bench, is a good role player, and eventually becomes a journeyman and gets shopped around and goes from team to team. You know what I mean? That's more than likely your case. So for Zach LaVine, a 2-time All-Star, a catch and shoot guru, an athletic dunker, for that caliber player, you want to get something that's worth trading for him. We'll just say that. So, wow, that's good. Yeah, I'm glad we're pretty much all on the same page for expectations of preseason. That's good. That just shows that the Bulls are who we thought they were. So,
oh, yeah.
Alejandro, are you ready to play Horns or Thorns? For those of you who don't know Horns or Thorns, it's a game that I give him a scenario. He says horns if he agrees with the scenario, or he says thorns if he disagrees with the scenario. I got about 6 here for you. So if you're ready, let's get going.
I'm ready. Yep.
All right. The first one is Horns or Thorns? Zach LaVine retains his spot on the Chicago Bulls and emerges as the star and leader of this team.
Horns. I'm a little hesitant with the leader part, but definitely Horns.
I like it. Okay. Question 2. Lonzo Ball plays a full healthy season and surprises all of us with his lack of regression despite injuries and missing 2 seasons of basketball activities.
Thorns.
Thorns. Okay. What do you think Lonzo's going to do?
Well, he's definitely going to miss about like 13 games because of the back-to-backs.
Right.
And then I know there's probably going to be some other games he just won't. If there's anyone I could see moved, I know what you asked me this already. Maybe Lonzo, just because the expiring deal, you could get something back potentially.
Yes.
I don't want to get my hopes up either.
Yes. He makes $20 million on an expiring contract. You dangle that in front of a team that's looking to rebuild or just looking to unload that one veteran that makes too much money. He's the guy. Yeah, I've been saying it all year that if Lonzo does come back, I don't see him sticking around Chicago. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah, I agreed.
And then I know you mentioned this earlier, but question 3. Matas Buzelis wins Rookie of the Year.
Horns. Oh, no, not Horns. Thorns.
Who you got for Rookie of the Year?
Zach Edey.
Zach Edey? Yeah. You think he's just set up too perfectly with Ja over there?
Just perfect scenario. They're letting him play his game. He dominated Walker Kessler in Summer League, and then now he's over there, slaughtering Miles Turner.
Yeah. I mean, it's insane. Question 4. This one I love it. The Chicago Bulls will retire Derrick Rose's number 1 jersey. Jane?
It has to be Horns. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
Yeah. Yep. I'm glad, dude. I can't think of a single reason. I know there's that not hate, but there's the Derrick Rose, like, well, what did he really accomplish besides MVP? It's like very few people changed a city's sport like Derrick Rose. Like very few people had the ability to take an entire city and put them under their wing and just make them fall in love with the game of basketball after 30 years of not having Jordan and not having championships. Derrick Rose really lit that spark back up. And I know that's a stat that you'll never see on a stat sheet, but Derrick Rose was just coveted by the city of Chicago. I think that's absolutely necessary. Plus, I don't know if you're following back then, but do you remember like Michael Carter Williams and Anthony Morrow, where they were getting like basically threatened that if you pick number 1 that we're going to riot and stuff like that and yada, yada, yada. So everyone said like, no one's going to wear it. So might as well retire it. So I like that answer.
Just to add on real quick.
Yeah.
Some teams have never made a conference finals. I think the Hornets and the Pelicans. Neither of those teams have. Derrick Rose took us. That's already you accomplished more than 2 franchises.
Yeah.
Some franchises don't have an MVP in their history.
Yeah. Exactly.
Derrick Rose is MVP. He's our only other MVP outside of Michael Jordan. It's a no-brainer. Some people are just spoiled with Michael.
Hey, I was one of them because I was like I said the other day, I started following after the first three-peat. So like right before Mike retired. And then I got the fortune of having Scotty in for 2 years where we were good. And then Mike comes back and we're just incredible again. And then immediately after that, it was just garbage.
Oh my God.
so I've seen it all. This question ties in with our last one. Derrick Rose successfully makes the Hall of Fame first ballot.
Yeah, no question.
No question.
He's MVP. He was in college. How he went to the finals. I forgot what it's called in college during March Madness, but he lost, granted, but he still went, as well as he's a 2-time Olympian.
Yep.
Like Reggie Miller has done less and he's made it.
Yep.
Like Vince Carter, in my opinion, has done less and he's made it.
Yep. Yeah, that's the thing is like Derrick Rose, like we just said earlier, how besides his talent, we really never got to see a prime Derrick Rose. Like Derrick Rose, when he got injured with that ACL, he was still on the up and up. I still don't think that he was at his full potential. So could you imagine a healthy Derrick Rose who never got injured with a bag as big as his and only got bigger just because now his skills grew, his talents grew. He's smarter. He's got, he knows how to play the basketball game a different way. Like he was a dangerous player. I'm just going to say that. Plus, he had no fear. He doesn't care if you're the biggest center, the best forward. He's going to take it to the hole, and he's going to find a way to get it up and under your arms. Yeah, I'm with you. I think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, and anyone who votes against him deserves to be fired.
Oh yeah.
All right. Our last Horns or Thorns question is: within 3 years, the Chicago Bulls are back in the playoffs.
Thorns.
Okay.
It's just too many question marks around the team. Because in 3 years, there's so much, like, so many storylines that happened before that. I don't know. I really don't. Like, Modest is gonna have to, like, emerge into, like, I don't even know who to compare him to, but definitely like an all-star caliber player.
Yeah. I've been getting a lot of like for Matas, I've been getting a lot of like Andre Kirilenko, like shorter Lauri Markkanens. I've been getting a lot of those comparisons to him, and if he emerges as one of those, I think we're set. So, but 3 years, what would be your like timetable? How long do you think we're back into the playoffs?
I would give it, if it's not 3, I would go 2 more, like 5. Rule 5
Okay.
to like, because he could probably emerge in year 3. We're like, all right, let's lock in, let's build a team around him, let's get him something more, and then go from there.
Yep. That's a good way to look at it. Yeah. That's the exact amount of years before I said we'd make it in the play. And I'm not talking about like battling for a play-in spot and then you win the 2 games and make it. And I'm talking about like where before the season's over, you know that you're 5th, 6th, you know what I mean, 7th guaranteed spot. So, okay, that's good. Well, that was Horns or Thorns, everybody. Moving on to our next game is Ask a Horniak. If you don't know Ask a Horniak, it's where we ask you guys to send us questions. We read it on the air and give you guys a shout out. So, Alejandro, you ready to answer some Horniak questions?
Oh yeah.
I like this question. This question comes from Scott A. Scott A is our fan from Australia. We love Scott A questions. He always asks some questions that really make you think, and this one is exactly that. Scott A asks, which team do you think will be better than expected this season?
Which team? I want to go with the Hornets.
The Hornets.
Just like LaMelo Ball being healthy, Brandon Miller taking another step. And then I've always been a fan of Trey Man. I wanted the Bulls to trade for him. So seeing him being compared to AI was always cool.
Yeah.
I like their team. I like, they're making moves in the right direction. It seems like they made the right draft pick. I wasn't a fan of Saloon, but turns out I'm wrong, which is great. Like, they definitely have a questionable center rotation just because Mark Williams can't stay healthy. But outside of that, you got your star players. If they're able to take it to the next step, I could definitely see it.
Yep. And then I'm going to add to that question on the other side of the coin. Which team do you think is going to be expected a lot, but are not going to be that good?
Ooh, I like this one. I get to be a hater a little bit. It's a tie between the Bucks and the Heat. I've been waiting for the Heat's downfall for a little bit.
Okay, I like that. So you think that Jimmy's going to start taking a step back?
I think the surrounding rosters, it's just not good enough. Tyler Hero's capped out, and he can't stay healthy. Same thing with Jimmy. You can't. Terry Rozier was they like to call Zach LaVine empty stats on a bad team, but who was Terry Rozier? I don't know why they made such a big deal about this trade. In fact, I think it was a bad deal on their end.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, unless Jaime Jaquez and Jovic take a big step, I don't see them doing much. And then same thing goes for the Bucks. Chris Middleton had a surgery on both of his knees.
Mm-hmm.
Both. Why is that going under the radar? Brook Lopez is older. He hasn't lost a step. But you can't do much if both your star players aren't in sync.
Yep.
And they have decent role players, but that can't hold you up if you have, the main foundational pieces wobbling, not being good.
Yep. No, that's probably one of the best ways I've ever heard it put down. Yeah. I was talking about the Heat. That was one of the teams that I was telling people, like, that might be one of the teams that we battle for again for that last play-in spot. And like you said, the Heat used to be that guaranteed 8th seed. Now they're starting to go down and down and down. So I think you're definitely starting to see that the Heat are going to eventually work their way out of the playoffs and right into a rebuild mode, because Jimmy Butler, let's just face it, he comes with attitude. He wants to win. He wants to play winning basketball, but he wants his team to win with him. So eventually Jimmy Butler is going to get sick and tired of trying to battle just to get into the playoffs. And he's going to say, look, you guys got to move me or find some players. And that's going to make some headlines. That was actually one of the players that I predicted within the near future to be either demanding a trade, not because you can't demand a trade anymore, but requesting to be moved or to be shopped around, was Jimmy Butler. The other one was Ja Morant, but I'll get into that in my next episode. Yeah.
That's interesting. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I have a theory about Ja Morant, and you guys are going to have to watch the next episode before I get into that, but I got my theories. But the team I expected to be better than people give them credit for was going to be the San Antonio Spurs. I mean, last year they were abysmal, whether or not they were trying to tank or whatever, that's besides the point. But you have now a Chris Paul who is playing a veteran point guard and arguably one of the best point guards to play, playing with that pick and roll with Victor Wembanyama. It's going to be dangerous. It is going to be absolutely dangerous. And they got, what's his name? Stephen Castle.
Oh yeah.
So you know that guy is going to mentor the next regime of just terrific point guards. So I think they're going to be a lot better than people give them credit for. I'm not going to say that they're going to be, shoe-in playoff teams, but they're going to be a team that turns some heads for sure this year.
I see it. I definitely see it.
So thank you, Scott Ace. Thank you for that question. We appreciate you. We love you. Stay good down there in Australia. And moving on to our next question. And that is from Samadhi Yee. We love Samadhi. He's one of our biggest supporters here. And his question is, what are the initial impressions of the Bulls in the preseason? Any teams, non-Bulls, that you're excited about?
My initial impressions is I'm kind of, shockingly surprised how well Josh Giddey's fitting in.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to, everyone's bought in. We're watching, although we're not expecting much out of the team, they still look like basketball players. They still look like they're playing NBA level basketball, which is, I'll take it. I'll definitely take it.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that was pretty much same. My initial thoughts of this team in the preseason was a little bit of both good and bad. My first impression was this is the same team that struggled rebounding and struggled shooting threes as last season. So my expectations didn't go up or down, but I like what I see from our young guys. Julian Phillips is on a tear.
Oh, yeah. How did I forget him? Yeah.
He's really playing like he's not a second rounder. If you put him and Patrick Williams next to each other and you told me one of these was a top 4 overall pick, my opinion is starting to shift more towards Julian Phillips has earned his way into this rotation. And I'm hoping that we got one of those gems I was talking about earlier in the second round with him. So, but a non-basketball team you're excited about?
A non-basketball team
or non-Bulls team? My apologies.
Non-Bulls team. Which one would I be excited about? I don't know if I could say this as a Bulls fan, with the Knicks. I'm excited to watch the Knicks.
Yeah,
it's because of the Jordan days. I wasn't alive for any of that, so that bad blood isn't there in my fandom. But I like the team that they built. With Brunson, Mikal Bridges. They just got Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah,
I'm interested to see what Tibbs does with them.
Yeah, that's a good that's a good answer, because me from the Jordan era, you're absolutely right. If you even said anything positive about the Knicks, you were shunned from Chicago. You're like, how could you say something like that? They're our mortal enemies. That's like a Bears fan rooting for the Packers. You just don't see it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But they are doing some great things over there. I was I'm a little confused with that Karl Anthony Towns trade, just because of the fact that it seemed like both teams traded for the same player. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Hard to explain, but Cat's a great shooter, great big man. Julius Randle, great shooter, great big man. Cat has injury problems. Julius Randle coming off injury problems. You know what I mean? So it was definitely a head scratch, especially because both those teams were pretty much at the top of the standings in their respective conferences. So why did they even have to make those moves? Because with Anthony Edwards there, the Minnesota Timberwolves were one of the favorites to take the West. You know what I mean? And like you'd mentioned earlier, the Knicks are definitely a favorite to take the East right now, because I think that the Celtics are going to finish second behind the Knicks this year. That's just me.
No, Chris, everyone said like Porzingis isn't going to be out for a couple months. They're going to have old man Al Horford there. They won't be as good, and that's
Yep.
okay.
Yep, because they've reached the top. That's the thing is another thing I notice is when a team reaches the NBA top, when you become the champion, you usually see them. I mean, with the exception of a few outliers, you see them take a step back, and it's because that maybe it's that drive has already been fulfilled. So it's like, you know what I mean? You've reached the top, but I don't think they're gonna top the standings 2 years in a row. I think that's not gonna happen.
Agreed.
But for my team that I'm excited to see, just like you, I'm gonna get hate for this, but I want to see what the Phoenix Suns do this year. I think that they finally got a good coach in Budenholzer. And I think that with the roster that they have, they're set up really good. They have Bradley Beal. If he stays healthy, he can hopefully rejuvenate himself into the shooter that he was. They have one of the best players in the world in KD. They have Grayson Allen. That team is better on paper than what the standings were last year. So I think they're going to be a lot better this year than they were just by changing coaching alone.
Oh yeah, they got a steal right now in the draft. Their guy, like the best defender, Ryan Dunn. One of his limitations was shooting, and right now in the preseason, he's shooting lights out from the three.
Yep.
Not to mention like Tyus Jones, they got him at the minimum. That's insane.
Yep. It's going to be interesting because especially with, I don't know if you heard like the rumors after the Olympics, how like Steph, LeBron, and KD all want to team up somewhere. And so I want to see what that team does this year. So before we actually close this, what are your thoughts on Bronny James?
I think it's cool. I think it's funny that, good for LeBron, living out his dream. If I had the resources to do so, I'd probably do the same. But do I think he's an NBA level player? I don't know. I don't care. I never watch Bronny highlights.
Yep.
If he does something cool, if he doesn't, oh well, I don't know. It's just
the same thing I said.
Yeah.
Bronny James was there because his dad wanted him to be there. Yeah, did he earn a spot in the NBA? Sure, cool. But I don't know anybody with the stats that he had that get drafted in the NBA. I mean, you talk about the guy had 5 points in college. Yeah, he came off a bad season, but come on, man. If your last name wasn't James and related to one of the best basketball players to ever play, are you really drafted by the team that your dad's on? Like, come on. You know what I mean? I wish nothing but the best for Bronny, just because like as a kid that young, you don't want to see him be mentally scarred by some of the hatred that, let's just face it, basketball fans, we're ruthless.
Oh yeah.
We'll let you hear about it. So, I mean, I wish nothing but the best for the kid, but I mean, it's not looking good.
Yeah. I'm not saying who cares,
Right.
If they're playing him like 30 minutes a night, starting point guard, then, that'll be different. But him just being on the team, oh, sure, that's fine.
Yeah. That was our thing is we're like, we think that he's just going to play a season with LeBron just to say he plays a season with LeBron. LeBron moves on either to a different team or retires. And then you see Bronny James goes into the G League and then eventually just fades away and just fades out. And that's fine. He made it to the NBA. So few of us can say that we've done that. So actually, I can't even include myself. I don't know why I said we, but I made it to the NBA in 2K. That's about it.
Oh, yeah, same here.
So thank you, Samadi. Fantastic question. We love Samadi questions. If you want to be featured on the Horns Over Hoops podcast and Ask a Horniak, follow us on Twitter. Leave us a comment there. Comment one of our videos. We post a lot of YouTube shorts. Comment on there and just say it's for the Horniak question. And if you want to be a guest, join us on the guest. Join us and email us. So, Alejandro, it's my favorite segment of the Showtime. This is a newer segment that we just put in, but I just fell in love with this segment because it's totally off the walls. You're gonna love it, and it's in correlation to the month we're in. So this segment is called Mount Hornsmore. It takes you and you rank 5 of the best things at a category. So any 5, any particular order, or you can rank them in order, up to you. But what is your Mount Hornsmore, your top 5 Halloween candies?
Ooh, my top 5 Mountain Hornsmore Halloween candies. This is a good one. I gotta go with Jolly Ranchers would be about third. It'll be number 3.
3, okay.
I think a Crunch Bar would be number 1.
Yeah, you're a big crunch guy.
Let me see. This is tough. Oh my gosh. I would say Reese's would be number 2.
Okay.
Then 4 and 5. Who would take that spot? What would it be? I'm just thinking about all the times I'm just digging through my candy, seeing which ones I want, which ones I don't want. Number 4 will be M&M's.
Okay.
And
peanut or chocolate?
Chocolate.
There you go.
Number 5, it is Nerds.
Nerds. Okay. Yeah. Big nerds guy. Okay. Solid list there.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see. And then right before I give you mine, like, what was that one candy that if you got it, you just wanted to go back and egg this guy's house that they gave you this candy? Like your least favorite candy?
My least favorite. Oh my God. It was, what is it called? A Tootsie Roll.
Yeah.
A Tootsie Roll. I hated Tootsie Rolls. I hated the little lollipops. Like they look like from the doctor's office.
Yep. Yeah. The plastic that you got to pull through the bottom. Yep.
Yeah.
Or like the what is it? The wax, the orange wax. It didn't even have a brand on it. It's just that piece of candy with the orange twisted up.
Oh my God. I'm like, why? Why do you think people like this?
So my top 5. This is going to be a really head scratching list because not a lot of people like these candies. But top of the list, number 5, 100 grand. 100 grand was my jam. I loved 100 grand. If you gave me 100 grand bar, that was the best. 4, I have to go with Milky Way. Milky Way was really good. I love Snickers, but Milky Way is just easier to eat. I don't know how to explain it. 3, I was a big Skittles guy. So if you give me some Skittles, you're the best. 2, let's see here. So many good candies. I try not to eat candy anymore. So it's, oh man, digging deep here. I'm going to say 3 Musketeer.
3 Musketeer.
Good Halloween candy.
Mm-hmm.
But number 1, and this is where I'm going to get the hate. People are going to absolutely rock my world for saying this. But number 1, I'm a big Almond Joy fan. So Almond Joy was my jam.
I mean, somebody has to eat it. It's
right. Yeah.
Around you're keeping them in business.
Yeah. So when you see like a candy bar on the shelf and it's like, who even buys that? That's this guy. I do. I'm the one keeping Almond Joy in business. It's good. You know, I mean, I'm a big coconut fan. So
nice.
Right. Well, that was a, what's that?
My bad. I've never heard of number 5. Which
what's
one
that?
was that?
100 grand.
Yeah, I've never heard of that one.
No, that's the one that's like got the chewy nougat in the middle and it's got like the crunch around it. If you're a Crunch Bar fan, you'd really like this. It's really good. Yeah, it's really chewy. It's got the crisp rice in it and just chocolate on the outside. That's really good.
I'll try it. I'll definitely try it.
Yeah, if you don't go, I know you don't go trick or treating anymore, but if you steal if you steal somebody's candy or whatever, try it out.
Will do.
Or you could just be an adult and go buy it from the store.
Who wants to do that?
Yeah, right. Well, thank you, Alejandro. That was absolutely fantastic episode. We loved having you on here. We hope you come back. You know, we enjoyed having you. So
I'd love to be back.
So just before we close here, how can the Bulls fans and how can the Horniacs find you?
You can follow me on X or Twitter, whichever one you want to call it, at Local Bulls Fan. Same thing on podcasts, YouTube, Spotify. I plan to start posting more, hopefully. But yeah, main place I'll be at is X. Anything you want to reach out, anything you might want to message me, talk about Bulls, I'll be there.
Yeah, yes, sir. You post some good stuff too. So I can imagine being busy with college. How do you juggle being a content creator and being in college?
Right now, I'm luckily somewhat enough that I'm not in classes right now, but it's like being able to, I take out my classes early and then I'll have work some other days. I'll watch the game. I'll pre-record it when it was on. When it was able to watch. When you're able to watch it somewhere, just have it pre-record.
Yeah.
Watch it later. It was definitely difficult, but I'm like trial and error.
Yeah. You still watch the game even if you know the score?
Yeah.
You really? That takes dedication, man. I could do that if we win. Like if I find out we won, I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll watch the game. But if I have it recorded or I'm trying not to pay attention and watch it later, and I find out we lose, I have no motivation to watch it. I'm sorry, I'll admit it. Yeah, sometimes I can't watch all 82 games, so I have to watch it at a later time. But if I find out we lose, that's just, I don't care. We lost. You know what I mean?
That's understandable. That it's asking a lot, in our adult lives to just like set time aside to watch the game, and then what's going to happen.
Yep.
What the hell am I doing here?
Yeah. Now, even further, imagine being married and try to juggle married life and forcing your wife to watch games with you, even though she doesn't want to, or she wants to go out and you'd rather watch the Bulls game. That, you know what I mean? So shout out to all the understanding wives who respect the fact that their guys have got to watch the game. It's just, we got to do it. We got to do it. So, Alejandro, thank you so much for joining us. You've been an absolute treat. I can't wait to have you back. You have some great basketball knowledge. Keep doing what you're doing, man. We absolutely love your content, and we hope to see you again soon.
Thank you. Likewise. I love to be back on, man. This was fun. I love talking Bulls. Talk Bulls all day.
Same.
Thank you so much.
Same. Well, that's going to do it for today's episodes. From all of us here at the Horns Over Hoops Studios, we like to thank you guys for tuning in every week. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's growing really, really fast. We try to post daily YouTube shorts. Follow us on TikTok. We do the same over there. We post daily TikToks. We're starting to do game recaps now, so give us a follow there. Follow us on our Twitter. Join our Discord. We have some fun discussions in there. It's where you can find a majority of our content. And if you want to be featured on the show as a guest, feel free to drop us a line and we'll throw you on. We love having guests. So with that being said, we encourage all our Bulls fans and our Horniacs to see red and go Bulls. Good night, everybody.
Horns over hoops.